Here comes last night, Lacey. Forget the words, but she's going crazy. Oh. Oh, there's nobody even here? What the fuck? It's just me. It's just me, all alone on a live stream. Well, that's bizarre. Well, hello, everyone. Even though I'm the only one here. Good. So we shall just wait, and I will rub my sore neck. Oh. I was using my hand to massage it, but then I switched with this little thing. This little thing is a massager. It's supposed to be for your face. Do this with it. Forget what it's called. It's a Chinese word. But yeah, I hurt my neck. Hello, person who's joined me. I was all by myself, and now you have arrived. Welcome. Oh, they left. So I had an interesting time. Past 24 hours. Well, maybe less than that. Because it happened to me last night. So, well, it's been about 12 hours, I guess, now. So we're just going to wait, I guess, for people to show up for a few minutes. And I'm rubbing my neck right now. Rubbing my neck because I got hurt. It's not like this is the first time this has happened. I've woken up sick from being in the spirit realm before, but this is a different kind of pain. It's kind of funny, too, because it has, I think, some irony to it. Well, I don't know. It is the May long weekend. So I don't know how long to wait. Oh. My neck is sore right from the part where it attaches to my head all the way down to like where it attaches to my back. And all like down, it was so sore back here. I couldn't use my right arm. My fucking neck was so sore that my arm wasn't working properly. It's getting better though. It hurts all the way down. From here all the way down my arm. I did something. Oh. But when things reflect on the spirit realm, they come out on the outside later. You'll learn that. So, I couldn't even move my head. Earlier, when I woke up this morning, I started crying. The pain was so bad. I thought I broke my own neck. And I did. I woke myself up this morning because I heard a crunch, an actual crunch in this ear because I hurt my freaking neck. It sounded like somebody crunched pasta. That's how hard I hurt my neck. And I woke myself up that way. Oh, hold on. Marvin's trying to escape. Oh, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? What was that noise? Never mind, she's not. They're in a bucket. So we're live. We're a different live today. Different live. And because I couldn't be bothered to set up on the couch, so I just sat here. I planned on getting ready today, but since I hurt my neck, it took me so long to wash my hair, but I really needed to wash it because it was freaking gross looking from being oiled the other day. So, yeah, definitely had to wash it, but it was so painful. So, yeah, I'm doing all right. Something happened last night that I didn't think would. I was hoping it would, but I didn't ever think it would. So I really got in a really bad place about it. I almost lost like all my hope and my faith in things completely. So I'm really glad that happened. Well, if you saw, I'll just tell you, because I can't wait any longer. It's almost been 10 minutes. So if you saw my last video, I used the Monkey King, Sung Wukong. Well, there was a reason for that, and it's because I was getting so upset. And in a way where it's because I didn't understand, and I wasn't sure like what was going on. It was a difficult place for me. Lots of stuff was happening. But the whole point of it is that I realized that they don't really give in to your wants, but they will give in to needs. And hi, no, my neck's not broken, but I thought I broke my neck. Hi, Jay White. But the spirit realm will come to you when you need it, not when you want it, unfortunately. And so, well, I had a bone to pick with the gods, like I said, and it didn't turn out as badly as it could have. It went really well, actually, but I only remember the beginning part and the end, which is okay because that's probably the only thing that matters because I was granted the request. Hello, Trev. A lot of people don't understand about the spirit realm because they don't have experience or they don't actually know they're taking part in it. And that's what I realized last night about the secret space program, too. I may not make much sense. It's been a lot now. But I'm still going to try to articulate myself the best that I can. And hope for the best. Honestly. Yeah. So I'm doing okay. Even though, it's been rough since April 6th. But it's well, like I said, something's happened that I didn't expect. And, well, I'm quite pleased. I feel a lot better. But now I'm going to have to do some damage control and adjustments need to be made. Symbolically, I was probably a pain in the neck to others. So now I know exactly how much of a pain in the neck I was. But I went to them, and they knew I was serious, that's for sure, because I've tried that before, but my requests weren't granted. But all I remember is walking up to this place. I knew it was like a big deal. It was a giant castle, actually. I know this sounds totally fancy, but it was a dream. I dreamt it. And I was in my spirit body, and I was very lucid and conscious, but I didn't exactly know where I was, but I knew that this is like the place of places. It was a giant, giant, giant castle. And I pounded on the door, actually. I wasn't knocking. And then this man came to the door who seemed like some type of attendant. And they said, hold on, I'll go ask for your request. And then my request was granted, and I was allowed entry. But I don't remember what we talked about. Of course, it's probably because I have a big mouth and I tell everyone everything. But what happened at the end was, and like what I had said in my video, I was challenging them. I wanted them to show me what they were made of. And, well, that's exactly what happened. I was like, yeah, hit me. Seriously, right out of the fucking castle. It's not even a joke. It was a dream, but it was in the spirit realm, in my lucid conscious etheric body. So when that happened, I figure, see, it didn't hurt when it happened to me there, but now I hurt now that I'm out of it. Yeah. And this has happened before in different circumstances, but they hit me with their powers, like their superpowers, like I talk about with the fire, but he hit me with wind like the fucking airbender. Yeah. And I was so excited because I'd never seen them do that before. Never seen them do it before. But they did. And I'm quite relieved. So I'll tell you, last night I was watching Hidden in Plain Sight. And I told myself I wasn't going to, because it's not because of them. It's not because of Perry and Brandon. It's me. I get really stressed out and kind of distressed over the whole thing. And so I told myself, no, I'm not going to go in there. I'm not going to do that to myself. But I went in anyway. And I couldn't help myself. And I was listening to this fella called Tony Rodriguez. And I never heard of him before. I never seen him before. He's a new person. And again, like, I don't look these people up. Even new people, even when I heard of Ishmael Perez, I never even looked anything, I didn't listen to him because of what happened, what he said about Elena. But still, like, ever since then, like, I never looked at any new people. But last night, I went into that chat, and I'm listening to this guy, and I was so humbled last night. They humbled me big time, which I really, really needed and I wanted. This is where I wanted to be, because the confusion and like that tornado of emotions that I was feeling because I didn't know what was going on has dissipated. Oh my gosh, it's Dead-Eye Danny. Hello, haven't seen you in ages. Welcome. Hi, Trev. Oh shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh, I got humbled. Yeah. So I was listening to this guy last night called Tony Rodriguez. And at first, when you see him, honestly, well, this is what I had to remind myself. Last night, I had to step outside of myself and almost look down on me. It's this different way of thinking. It's almost like stepping outside of yourself and looking at the bigger picture. But I can't remember on the thinking chart if that one is like the oversoul overlooking everything. I can't remember. But it's something like that. And so I did this. I kind of stepped outside of myself and looked at myself, my own life. Oh, hi, Eligos. Feels, I couldn't read that word. Feels amazing, man. I thought I was seeing things. Like I couldn't read properly. It doesn't have any spaces. It's okay. Hi, welcome. Right. So I was watching this fella. I'm going to try and focus here. And like I stepped outside of myself to look at myself. So what I would look like on the outside looking in. You see what I'm saying? Because people can't see what you are on the inside. And that's difficult because on the spirit realm, you're different, just like I am. And I guess I forgot that. I had this expectation of what a secret space program person was supposed to look like G.I. Joe or something. And I think that may be a misconception that many people have. But I did. And I think that's why, well, that's definitely why I wanted to believe Emery Smith, because he kind of looks like G.I. Joe, right? And that's what you would expect from a secret space program person. Unfortunately, the secret space program isn't what we imagine it, I think. And that may be due to a couple factors. Maybe one, people being deceptive on purpose to pretend to be something they're not. That could be it. But in a lot of cases, I think that it's that people don't really know because they don't remember. This fellow was saying about how he didn't remember. It's actually in the Hidden in Plain Sight chat. It happened live. And I wrote what was going on. So it's been documented, which is great for me. But I was listening, and he was talking about how he thinks he has, this is amazing, a translator, it's sort of like Neuralink, but it's not. That's your pineal gland. Your pineal gland has the ability to be your international translator. It doesn't matter what language they're speaking, they speak in energy. So you're translating thoughts and emotions rather than actual language words anyway. which is really interesting. I posted a few videos. I didn't get to watch them. I posted just the one about the telepathy with that doctor, and then there was another one about abduction cases with the telepathy. But I know that I am very, 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 very close to figuring all of this, because the telepathy is a huge part, because it suggests that you're in the spirit body. Like I said, you don't use your mouth normally, because I've had experiences like that girl that was like, oh yeah, well, if you're so powerful, she did move her mouth. She did. She was talking to me. So I don't know. It just depends, I suppose. But I've seen some of Tony's stuff. Good. Because like I'm saying, I had to look at myself from the outside looking in. You wouldn't think that I was everything that I talk about either. I don't really look like much, to be honest with you. You know? Like even just what I have in my life on paper, it doesn't look very impressive. But in reality, it's the non-material things that matter, just like you're in the non-material space or in your spirit body. So that's really what it is. You know, I don't really know if there's an actual term. Now I understand that because I don't know the actual name of it, the government has been doing experimentation programs all about telepathy, remote viewing, anything that has to do with the brain for a really long time. Hello, Dave Walker. Welcome. Thank you very much for everyone for pressing like and being here with me today. I greatly appreciate it. So, it's 2:22 p.m. The number of friendship and love. What was I saying? Oh, so I don't look like much, and I have a severe mental illness called CPTSD that affects my life, and I've been trying to, get that under control, and I also smoke weed. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that I'm not also these other things. In the physical, it's much different, I find, and I forgot. I literally forgot. And I suppose that I needed to do that, step out of myself and look at what I would appear to others, because the things that I talk about, I don't blame people for snickering and laughing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I heard this from somebody else, if I would necessarily believe them without having the experience and knowledge and wisdom that I have gained over all these years. And I've made mistakes, but everything was with good intention. I really thought that these people were going to hurt us. And that's one of the things that I'm afraid of the most, is that myself and others included will be hurt more than we already have been. I just really hope that I'm right. I couldn't understand. They told me, stop attacking your allies. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're not my allies. I didn't see them that way because I couldn't. And I realize now that it's not just like, even though we don't have a term for it, there are tons of people within this secret space program. They may not know it or not, but there are some people that do have recollections, and this is what gets them to follow these people to begin with, because you realize that you have similarities. That's why many don't come forward. It's true, because it's fucking embarrassing, and you don't know how to explain it. You don't. There's things that Tony was saying he doesn't remember, and that's probably because you won't. Like I just said about my story right there. I only remember banging on the door, going into that castle, and then getting my ass blown right the hell out. And I know what happened afterwards. After the door closed, it wasn't a mean thing. They probably all died laughing hysterically. Like, it was probably funny for them, because they were the higher dimensionals, right? And that's basically what I asked them to do. Okay, bam. And that was probably quite funny for them. But this is the big problem, and I didn't realize that. I guess I was looking for these because I always thought, well, they better be better than me. You know what I mean? Oh, dear. So I guess for me, my expectation, ow, my fucking neck, was that I was thinking that people were getting up off of their couch and walking out the front door and getting onto a spaceship. That's not how it works. I saw that craft with my own eyes in this physical flesh body in my old apartment on that balcony. In this flesh body with these eyeballs, okay? But I'm not sure if I could have gone on that ship at that time anyway, even if they landed. But what I have figured, okay, is that people must be going in their spirit body into the ship. Hello, Elena. Here she goes. Oh, no, not that one. Where is she with Thorhan? There she goes. There they go. And he came to pick her up. But they went in the spirit body. That's why he's glowing. So that's when they go into the ship like that. And all was so silent. It was a weird silence. That's because, girl, you ain't got no ears. We don't hear with our ears anymore. Shit, I closed the book. And all was so silent. It was a weird silence. It's like I had cotton in my ears. Yeah, girl, you ain't got no ears. You're in the spirit body. You hear differently. You hear with energy and feelings. You don't hear with your auditory senses anymore. You hear with your other senses, your spiritual senses. The vision ahead of me struck me with astonishment, but no fear. Yeah, because you don't feel fear when you're in the spirit body. I never am afraid to die or get hurt because I know that you can't hurt me in the same way you can hurt me in my physical body. A metallic discoidal disc spaceship was there. Yeah, I'm right. I know I am. A tall man dressed in white clothes appeared in front of me as he came down the ramp of the ship. How come I don't remember this stuff? Shit. I was attacking my allies. Fuck. Well, this is a little embarrassing. Good though. Good. Exactly what I deserved. Exactly what I deserved. Huh. Well, you can come back with injuries. Yes, Dave Walker, this is what I was talking about. So when I left the castle, I already talked about this earlier. I was in the spirit realm. I went to this higher dimensional place. I don't know where it was. It was this big ass fucking castle, and it was really, really nice, okay? But it was almost like see-through-y crystal-like, okay? It reminded me of Sailor Moon's castle, I'm not gonna lie, but it was fucking huge. And I banged on the door, and usually I don't get a response. An attendant came to the door and was like, oh, it's you. All right, I'll go tell them about your request, basically. Then he came back and the doors opened, but then I don't remember what happened. All I remember is the end and being like, there, are you satisfied now? Do you have what you want? And I was like, yeah. And then I was like, hit me. And I swear, I don't know. It was because I challenged them before. I really wanted me to show me what they were made of, and they fucking did. But it wasn't to be mean. And it was honest to God, like Avatar: The Last Airbender. He hit me with wind. He hit me with wind. And it was fun. Although I'm fucking hurting today. When I started this, I tried to tell people, look, Dave Walker says you can come back from the spirit realm with injuries. It's happened to me. It's happened to me just now. When I woke up, I literally woke myself up to a crunch sound. I heard it. I hurt my neck so bad. You guys, I was crying in pain. Like crying in pain. I couldn't move. I cannot move any further than that. Like it hurts so much. It's gotten better. I was walking around my arm like this. Holding my arm to my chest like this and my shoulder up because all I could do was like shuffle around. It was bad. Like this, I've never hurt myself like this before. I told you guys this before. I hurt myself and I went to the fucking doctor and the doctor laughed. Like, I was like, don't make me laugh. Don't make me laugh. Because I hurt myself. I was on the toilet. I was taking a pee. And when I went to go reach for the toilet paper, I fucking sneezed and I threw my back out so bad that I was stuck on the toilet with my legs out like this on the toilet, like, and I couldn't fucking move because I hurt my friggin' back that badly. And I was like stuck on the toilet, like frozen, like a mannequin, because I was reaching like this, but when I sneezed, I hurt my back so damn bad. And I went to the doctor the next day because I couldn't still move and I was scared. Yeah. And this is the second time it's happened. So for some people, you're not going to understand. But thankfully, Dave Walker, for you, because this does happen. Sometimes I'll get sick, like throw up sick. But this is a little different. There's only, oh yeah, that's the spot. What the hell did I do? It hurts all the way down. This is a massaging stone. I was using my hands, but then it wasn't good enough. So yeah, sneezing. You can hurt yourself sneezing. Yes, I did. And so it's sort of like I honestly thought I broke my fucking neck. It sounded like somebody crunched pasta in my ear, like seriously, that's how loud it was and painful. And then I was lying on my back crying out like, ah! It was really bad. It was bad. So, that happened. And then I had that realization last night. And, it's just, things have been a lot better since I figured that out. Like, yeah, this fella, he might have anxiety on the camera. He might be on drugs. Like, I don't know. Because I don't know, like, my eyes don't get that big and glassy, and I'm not the only one that noticed that. But you know what? We all deal with this shit differently, and I can bet, good, Dave, you really should talk about this stuff. It'll help me. You don't even need to use your face. Just be Dave Walker, no face, on a YouTube channel telling your stories, man. It'll help me so much, please. If you can bear it. I don't mean to put pressure on you or nothing like that, but you don't even have to show your face. Change your name. Make a fake channel with a fake name. No one needs to know. Make up a fucking cartoon name you want. Be Donald Duck. It doesn't matter. Just tell your stories. That's what matters. People need to hear them because that's what's causing all of this. Now I feel I'm going to have to make up for it because I was laughing at these people. And it's probably going to come back to me in karma, but that's okay because I'll fix it. Like I said, adjustments and what was that other thing I said? Corrections or whatever. I can fix it. I made a video that I didn't publish that you guys didn't see. And I'm glad now that I didn't publish it. Yeah, that's where I threaten all like the Ascended Masters to fight me. Every one of them. I was like, come on. It was pretty good, but I'm not posting it. It's too much. But yeah, like I challenged everyone to fight. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you something. I was so upset. I full on went Monkey King. I was very, very upset, insulted, confused. I walked right up to the palace door. Bang, 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 bang. Before I couldn't do that with my arm. It's better now. It seriously is. I'm not making it up about my fucking neck. I am not making it up. I should have called 911 just to fucking prove it to you and gone live from the goddamn hospital because I would have been there for 6 fucking hours. I couldn't move my fucking neck. I'm sorry about swearing. It's just that it was so bad. I was laying there in bed. I didn't have the strength. It was so much pain in my head that I had to like sit up by pulling myself. I couldn't like lift my head up even to like look at the cat, like on the cat house. I couldn't fucking move. It was that bad. Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. But I know I I hit that pager even though the light seemed to have gone dead. Oh, you mean like when you feel like no one's there and no one's listening, but you're still calling? Yeah. Yeah, they don't grant wants, they grant needs. Only when you need them. And I understand that, because if they were granting everybody else's wants, imagine how fucking busy they'd be. Too many wants, only possible to complete needs. Me too. But like, to be honest with you, like I said, and I've never denied this, like I said before, that if Thorhan was fucking around and he was using Elena in some way, or pretending like there's this romance and he was really using her, I would have beat the shit out of him. And it's not because, it's because that's wrong, be like, bang, it was a protection. So I do understand that I was misdirected, but it wasn't with bad intent. I thought they might be in trouble. People might think I'm in trouble because of the Asura. Still, I can fix this. I can fix this. Maybe not alone, but like I said to Dave, like, people, if you just tell your stories, it can be anonymously. Get a voice changer. Get it, and write your stories down and get AI to tell them. And write in your description, these are my own personal experiences, but due to the fact that I would like to remain anonymous for my own personal reasons, you don't need to explain to everybody that you're too afraid and there's no fucking shame in it. Because seriously, I wouldn't be able to do this if I wasn't as crazy as I am. Yeah. And that's the thing. I'm just crazy enough. Just crazy enough. Yeah, that's what it is. So just crazy enough to trust them and believe in them when they tell me to jump. You know what I mean? But not like that. They taught me how to fly by kicking me out of a spaceship into the sky. In the spirit realm. Yeah, kick me right the fuck out. And it was scary at first. It was. But then I got my shit together and I transformed back into the dragon. That's my immortal form in my immortal body. Yeah. And I always said this before, that I was a large golden dragon. But I didn't copy this. This has to do with the representation of the immortal self. I'm not the only one who can do that. See? So I've been remembering certain things, but they just didn't make sense. And I don't have a lot of experience. I've met with the people in the blue suits, but I don't have experience like Elena Denan has, that's for sure. And this is a spiritual realm thing. I wish they had clarified it, but I think it's my fault. I don't know if they were like, well, if I don't tell them and they assume it, then it's not really my fault. I don't know if it was that or not, but to be honest with you, I'd just like to leave them be. I suppose you do what you think you have to, you know? I suppose they all had similar feelings, and maybe I seemed like quite a threat as well. I'm just a baby at this, even though I'm almost 40. I'm just a baby. I can feel my babiness, and I'm okay with that, you know? So with all that being said, let us start the lesson. And today, we are going to talk about the elementals and the elemental kingdoms. But I didn't get the page, but it won't. The elements and their inhabitants. Turned right to it. See? There it is. And it comes from The Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manly P. Hall. And this is where I learned first that, because there's beings in here, fire beings called salamanders. And salamanders are lizards. And what are the lizards but the reptilians? So that's how it translates into our culture of UFO culture and aliens today. even though they are not aliens, they are of the spiritual realms and of the spiritual hierarchies and the kingdoms therein. So, just a sec, I'm going to check on Marvin to make sure she didn't run away. Oh, was that the last page? Oh well. All the colored pages fell out of my book. Oh, good. Okay. So this is how I first figured out, pretty much, that we were definitely not dealing with aliens. Not in the way people think. When you think alien, you think like they must have flown here from Mars or Venus. But that's not the case. I think it's just like a mistranslation or a misunderstanding of the words and terms based on the things we've already been fed previously, you know, especially in the Western educational system. So, the Elements and Their Inhabitants, page 279. Oh, that's an F. For the most comprehensive and lucid exposition of occult pneumatology, but it's spelled with a P-N-E-U. Yeah, anyway, the branch of philosophy dealing with spiritual substances. Oh, I'll just show you the word. That word. The branch of philosophy dealing with spiritual substances. Extant, whatever that is. Mankind is indebted to Philippus Aureolus. Dude, we're going to call him Pap. Prince of alchemists and hermetic philosophers, and true professor of the royal secret, the philosopher's stone, and the elixir of life. Paracelsus believed that each of the four primary elements known to the ancients, earth, fire, air, and water, consisted of subtle, vaporous principle and a gross corporeal substance. Air is therefore twofold in nature. It has the tangible air that you can feel, but then the spiritual air that you cannot, material and non-material. Twofold in nature, tangible atmosphere and the intangible, volatile substratum, which may be termed spiritual air. Fire is visible and invisible, discernible and indiscernible, a spiritual ethereal flame manifesting through a material substantial flame. Carrying the analogy further, water consists of a dense fluid and a potential essence of a fluidic nature. Earth has likewise two essential parts, the lower being fixed, terrus, immobile, the higher rarefied, mobile, and virtual. Oh! So the earth, like earthbending, it does unmovable, it stays. But spiritual earth moves. The lower being fixed. Fixed means stuck. Earth has likewise two essential parts, the lower being fixed and immobile. The higher, rarefied, is mobile, it moves, and virtual. Unseen? The general term, elements, has been applied to the lower, or physical phases of these four primary principles, and the name elemental essences to their corresponding invisible spiritual constitution. Minerals, plants, animals, and men live in a world composed of the gross side of these four elements, and from various combination of them construct their living organisms. We're all made of earth, air, fire, and water. Like carbon is something of the earth. Our waters are like blood. Air, lungs. Fire, stomach. Sea of chi. Henry Drummond in Natural Law in the Spiritual World describes this process as follows. If we analyze this material point at which all life starts, we shall find it to consist of a clear, structureless, jelly-like substance resembling albumen, or the white of an egg whites, the universal goo. Is the white goo when it's tarnished? I mean, the black goo. Is that what black goo is? Like when it's tarnished? Maybe. It is made of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Its name is protoplasm. And it is not only the structural unit with which all living bodies start in life, like when we're in the uterus, but with which they are subsequently built up. Protoplasm, says Huxley, simply or nucleated, is the formal basis of all life. It is the clay of the potter. That's why they probably say we were made from clay. The water element of the ancient philosophers has been metamorphosed into the hydrogen of modern science. The air has become oxygen, the fire is nitrogen, and the earth is carbon. Just as visible nature is populated by an infinite... Oh, listen. Just as... Ouch, I hurt my neck. Just as visible nature is populated by an infinite number of living creatures, so according to Paracelsus... Fuck, why can't I say these names? The invisible spiritual counterpart of visible nature, composed of the tedious principles of the visible elements. Its inhabitants by a host of peculiar beings, to whom he has given the name elementals. They are. If you look at some of the movies that I posted, like the Monkey King and stuff, they do look different. Some of them are blue, some of them look like cat people, some look like monkeys, and things like that. And these, what did I say? Elementals. And which have later been termed the nature spirits. Whatever that guy's name is, divided these people of the elements. They are people like us. They just don't look like us. Like I said about aliens a long time ago, but they're not aliens. People of the elements into four distinct groups, which are called gnomes, undines, sylphs, and salamanders, which are kind of like trolls, mermaids, fairies, and reptilians. He taught that they were really living entities, many resembling human beings in shape and inhabiting worlds of their own. Unknown to man because his undeveloped senses were incapable of functioning beyond the limitations of the grosser elements. So it's just that we function in too much of a dense space, I suppose. Hello, Jesse James. The civilizations of Greece, Rome, Egypt, China, and India believed implicitly that satyrs, sprites, and goblins. There's a reason for that, because they were very much into the spirit realm. They peopled the sea with mermaids, the rivers and fountains with nymphs, the air with fairies, the fire with Lars and Penates, and the earth with fauns, dryads, and hamadryads. These nature spirits were held in the highest esteem. See, that's why they're mad that we forgot them. Because we used to hold them in high esteem. We all used to be friends, and then we forgot them, and now they're pissed off a little bit, I think. Where was I? Oh, these nature spirits were held in the highest esteem, and propitiatory offerings were made to them. Yeah, we don't give them offerings anymore. Occasionally, as a result of atmospheric conditions or the peculiar sensitiveness of the devotee, they became visible. Many authors wrote concerning them in terms which signify that they had actually beheld these inhabitants. Many authors, like Claudio, wrote concerning terms in which signify that they had actually beheld, saw them, the inhabitants of nature's finer realms. A number of authorities are of the option that many of the gods worshipped by the pagans were elementals. Some of these invisibles were believed to be of commanding stature and magnificent deportment. Commanding stature, it means they're huge, like giants. The Greeks gave the name daemon, which is also how they say in Sailor Moon, to some of these elementals, especially those of the higher orders, and worshipped them. Probably the most famous, it's not the same as demon, not the same. These daemons is the mysterious spirit which instructed Socrates, and of whom that great philosopher spoke in the highest terms. Those who have devoted much study to the invisible constitution of man realize. I think I smell something burning. Oh, my fucking neck. Hang on. I smell something burning. Well, what the hell? I don't know where it came from. Maybe it was the pizza place out front putting on their ovens or something. It's almost 3 o'clock. Maybe it's that. The pizza places don't open until the later afternoon, and they stay up late. Thanks, Jesse. Thanks for stopping by. Okay. Let's see here. It's quite probable the daemon of Socrates and the angel of Jacob Bohme, don't know how to say that, B-O-H, it has like a little thing on the O. Right there. Can you see? Right there. B-O-H-M-E. Were in reality not elementals, but the overshadowing, the overshadowing divine natures of these philosophers themselves. That's exactly what happened to David Wilcock. Listen again. The Greeks gave the name daemon to some of these elementals, especially those of the higher orders, like, say, Archangel Michael or whatever, and worshipped them. Probably the most famous of these daemons is the mysterious spirit which instructed Socrates, and of whom the great philosopher spoke in the highest terms. Those who have devoted much study to the invisible constitution of man realizes it is quite probable the daemon of Socrates and the angel of that guy Jacob were in reality not elementals, but the overshadowing divine natures of these philosophers themselves. Sometimes it can take you over. It could be like the egoic lower self as well. Not exactly like you might get it confused with your higher self, because the lower self does like to do that. So I don't know, but that's who I thought of, David. As the daemon of Socrates, therefore, was doubtless one of the highest order, as may be inferred from the intellectual superiority of Socrates to most other men. Apuleius is justified in calling this daemon a god, and that the daemon of Socrates was indeed divine. But daemon is not the same thing as demon, not the same word. It's evident from the testimony of Socrates himself in the first Alcibiades. For in the course of that dialogue, he clearly says, I have long been of the opinion that the God did not as yet direct me to hold any conversation with you. Wait, I have long been of the opinion that the God did not as yet direct me to hold any conversation with you. And in the Apology, he most unequivocally invises that the daemon is allotted a divine transcendency considered as ranking in the order of daemons. So spiritual hierarchy. The idea once held that the invisible elements surrounding surrounding and interpenetrating the earth were peopled with living, intelligent beings like inner earth. Hey, bud, pick the hell out of that. Get it. This doctrine, however, found favor with some of the greatest intellects of the world. The sylphs of Fascius Cardan, the philosopher of Milan, the salamander seen by Benvenuto Cellini, the pan of Saint Anthony, and La Petite Homme Rouge, the little red man, or gnome, of Napoleon. Napoleon saw one. Jesus, look what he did. But you got to remember, it says later on that the elemental kingdoms are always at war with each other. And it shows you that in my video I made yesterday. Napoleon Bonaparte have found their places in the pages of history. Literature has also perpetuated the concept of nature spirits. The mischievous Puck of Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream, elementals of Alexander Pope's Rosicrucian poem, The Rape of the Lock, the mysterious creatures of Lord Lytton's Zanoni, James Barrie's immortal Tinkerbell is a fairy, like a air spirit fairy, and the famous bowlers that Rip Van Winkle encountered in the Catskill Mountains are well-known characters to students of literature. The folklore and mythology of all peoples abound in legends concerning these mysterious little figures who haunt old castles, guard treasures in the depths of the earth, like the trolls in Lord of the Rings. Or what were they called? Not a troll. Dwarf. It doesn't hurt to put my neck down, but I can't put my neck up, like backwards and up. Like to tilt my head up, I cannot do that, but I can put my head down. Where was I? The folklore and mythology of all peoples abound in legends concerning these mysterious little figures who haunt old castles, guard treasures in the depths of the earth, and built their homes under the spreading protection of toadstools. You know, you see little things living under toadstools, fairies, and ouch, fucking gnomes. Fairies are the delight of childhood, and most children give them up with reluctance. Not so very long ago, the greatest minds of the world believed in the existence of fairies. And it is still an open question as whether Plato, Socrates, and I don't know what that is, were wrong when they avowed their reality. Were wrong when they avowed their reality. I don't know what that means. Paracelsus, whatever that guy's name is, when describing the substances which constitute the bodies of the elementals, divided flesh into two kinds. The first being that which we have all inherited through Adam. This is the visible, corporeal flesh, like my sore ass neck. The second was that the flesh which had not descended from Adam, and being more attenuated, was not subject to the limitations of the former. The bodies of the elementals were composed of this transubstantial flesh. Paracelsus stated that there is as much difference between the bodies of men and the bodies of nature spirits as there is between matter and spirit. Thank you, Pasta. Welcome to the chat. I hope everyone's enjoying this. I know that I'm not the greatest of readers. Yet, he adds, the elementals are not spirits because they have flesh, blood, and bones. They live and propagate offspring. They eat and talk and act and sleep. And consequently, they cannot be properly called spirits. I need a moment of break. It's not that I'm upset, it's just the tiniest bit stressful because here I'm thinking like I'm never going to meet them. I'm never going to have any real friends. I'm never going to be around people that actually like me, want me around. And then and I know in the afterlife I will, but I just wanted some time in my real corporeal flesh. We're going to stay longer just chilling outside, being good. Hey, Big Salem. Hey, Big Salem, Big Mom. What? Oh my goodness. What a matter. You hungry? Oh, it's because you're fat. You just try to play food. You had a plate of food. Yeah. I can't come over there. I'll be right back. Coming back, 1 second. Okay, I'm back. What's that? Oh, it won't go away. Go away. Okay, good. Well, yeah, it was time. Well, the thing is that unfortunately, because it's so close to the end of the month and it's getting harder and harder for me to survive, so I don't really have any weed. I was actually using tobacco. Yeah, I know, it's really bad. But I tried to go for a few days and then I couldn't because it was really, really getting to me. But I made it. I just, that's why I need that sometimes. And I don't actually have a cigarette and I don't smoke, but it's weird. I know. Bear with me. I am a work in progress. But like I said, none of us are perfect. And I think that for sure that it must be some type of program that we're on in soul school that requires a certain level of trauma. I think that for me, I've heard that trauma brings out these memories and stuff for us to awaken quicker. I don't know. But I've noticed that with, no, excuse me, and myself and other people that are talking about, even though I can't believe I'm saying this, but the secret space program. Although I'm talking about it in a spirit body realm sense, I'd really like to be very, very clear so that people understand this, because I think the misunderstanding is what's causing most of the problem. And I actually, like I said, I don't want these people to be laughed at and made fun of. I know that's going to happen to me. I'm not saying that I'm unworthy of it, or it would be a thing of karma. So I'm already prepared for that. I'm not inviting it in, but this is something that I was already aware of. So now that I know this, I can help these people too. Because not all of them, now I'm not speaking for all of them, but some of them. Yes, trauma comes in different form, Dave. Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here. It does. It comes in, it's what you need. You know what I mean? And I know it sounds weird because that didn't make sense to me for the longest time about my own life. But if I didn't live that way, it wouldn't have taught me to love all of humanity as my family. And that's what happened. I know it seems weird sometimes. We don't always like all of our family members, do we? But we still love them. Or let me read some more. About them having a body. They cannot be properly called spirits. Fuck. They are beings occupying a place between men and spirits, and in between, interdimensionals. I guess that's what that means. Resembling men and a place between men and spirits, resembling men and spirits, resembling men and women in their own organization and form. I know. Where'd you go? Man and woman. Well, there's a woman. That's a woman. Right? And look, men. That's a spirit with what is that? Water. Telosian. White hair. Oh, white hair. Ice fantasy. The men in ice fantasy with the white hair. They're elves like. Telosi. have interbred with Terrans, and their gene markers show up regularly within Terran's population. Unlike their cousins working with the Galactic Federation of Worlds, Lacey are by nature benevolent people, inclined to assist humanity, remembering its ancient history, help in its ascension, and improve health and longevity. They would be known as the Shining Ones. Alpha Centauri. That's what it doesn't make any sense to me, though. They originate from Alpha Centauri 4, planet Silo. How does that make sense, though? That's what I don't understand. You mean, like, if I got in a ship right now, that I could fly there and be like, hey guys, how's it going? No, right? Because she said that if you go to Jupiter, they're not on Jupiter. They're on a different dimension of Jupiter. One, I guess, that we can't perceive. Okay, all right. But you're with me, right? I showed you some men and women. Uh-oh. Oh. In their organization and form, and resembling spirits in the rapidity of their locomotion. Philosophia Occulta, translated by Franz Hartmann. Later, the same author calls these creatures composita, composed of, inasmuch as the substance out of which they are composed seems to be a composite combination of spirit and matter. Wait a minute. But we're a combination of spirit and matter too. We have a spirit and we have a physical container, a body. He uses color, like the color spectrum in the chart in my book. 4th spirit realm, 5th demons, fallen angels, 6th angels, 7 heaven. Thus, the mixture of blue and red gives purple, a new color, resemble neither of the other colors, yet composed of both. Such is the case with the nature spirits. They resemble neither spiritual creatures nor material beings, yet are composed of the substance which we may call spiritual matter or aether. Aether. Right there. Paracelsus further adds that whereas man is composed of several natures, spirit, soul, mind, body, combined in one unit, the elemental has but one principle, the ether out of which it is composed, like earth, air, fire, and water, the spiritual nature of those, is meant the spiritual essence. Okay. I fucked up. The ether out of which it is composed and in which it lives. So probably with, like I said, earth, air, fire, or water. The reader must remember that by ether is meant the spiritual essence of one of the 4 elements. So like I was saying, do you remember in the 5th element? Do you remember at the end? Corbin, I ain't got no matches. Do you remember that? Do you remember how they poured the water on the stone and that blue light came out of it? And then the yellow with the air, he blew on it. Remember? That's your physical. And that was, oh shit, my page. And yeah, I got it. And that was the spiritual essence that came out of it. Finally, when he lit the match and he put the fire on it, the fire went out, but it came up out of the stone. In the movie, at the end of the 5th element, the fifth element. Earth, air, fire, water, and she was the fifth. Lilu, multipass. After he tells her, you do know love, I love you. Her power comes out. That's the light. That's the light of the divine creator, like the ultimate power to defeat that big black ball in the sky. Watch the fifth element. It'll show you at the end. When they light the stones, that's the spiritual essence of each element. That ether is meant by the spiritual essence of one of the four elements. There are as many ethers as there are elements, and as many distinct families of nature spirits as there are ethers. That's why there's so many beings in here. I would have used Claudio's books, but I only have up until the one with the eyeball on it. And then afterwards, I think Marvin's trying to escape. That's when he has, especially the book where he puts the fish man. Marvin. Hold on, you guys. Marvin went under the fence. I have to go and get her. I'll be right back. I'm home. Marvin. Baby. Don't run away, Baba. Sorry, everybody. Marvin ran away. I had to go get her. Okay. You're making a sandwich. That's what I had for my lunch. I made a grilled cheese sandwich, and it had ham on it and mustard. And then I had a can of mushroom soup, and I made 2 hash brown patties. Okay. The families are completely isolated in their own ether and have no intercourse with the denizens of the other ethers. So air spirits stick with air spirits. Fire spirits stick with fire spirits. You see this in a movie called Elementals. It's new. I think it's from Pixar. And there's a fire spirit and a water spirit that fall in love. And when they touch, they create steam. It's really cute. I think it's called elementals. Uh-oh. Where was I? And have no intercourse with the denizens, that's the other citizens, of the other aethers. But, as man has within his own nature centers of consciousness sensitive to the impulses of all the four ethers, it is possible for any of the elemental kingdoms to communicate with him under the proper conditions. So if you can kind of match your energy, frequency, vibration to each of the elements, like I've always been able to communicate with fire beings very easily because I'm also a being of fire. I have so much fire in my chart. And so that's why I've met a lot of these different beings of fire, including the salamanders and these gray types, because they're also beings of fire. But that's not the only ones I've met. That's just the ones I have most experience with. That's all. Well, I guess so. They would have been more of a fiery type nature. I only had a few that were gentle. Like the other elements would be. Fire can be very intense, and they normally are. But not evil, just powerful, sometimes aggressive, like fire can very aggressively take your whole house, yes? The nature spirits cannot be destroyed by the grosser elements, such as material, fire, earth, air, or water, for they function in the rate of vibration higher than that of earthly substances, being composed of only one element or principle, the ether in which they function, earth, air, fire, and water, but the spiritual earth, air, fire, and water, for they function in a rate of vibration higher than that of early, I read that already, being composed of only one element or principle, the ether in which they function, they have no immortal spirit, and at death merely disintegrate back into the element from which they were originally individualized. Aww. That's sad. That's why you see some of them just disintegrate and blow away into the wind. Oh, it died. No individual consciousness is preserved after death, for there is no superior vehicle present to contain it. Being made of but one substance, there is no friction between vehicles. Thus, there is little wear or tear incurred by their bodily functions, and they therefore live to a great age. That's what you see them, sometimes 700, 800, a few thousand years old. Those comprised of earth aether are the shortest lived. They don't live long. They're made of earth. I lost my spot. Those composed of air ether, the longest. That's probably why Thorhan and them are so old, because they're air beings. You can tell because they're intelligent. Intellectual-like, and that is air, of the mind. The average length of life for air is between 300 and 1,000 years. Paracelsus, I don't know what that is, maintained that they live in conditions similar to our Earth environments and are somewhat subject to disease. These creatures are thought to be incapable of spiritual development, but most of them are of high moral character. Concerning the elemental ethers in which the nature spirits exist, Paracelsus wrote, "They live in the four elements, the nymphae in the element of water, the sylphs in the air, the pygmies in the earth, and the salamanders in fire. They are also called undines, sylvestres, gnomi, volcani, Vulcans, like in Star Trek. Each species moves only in the element to which it belongs. Vulcans are fire. Undine is mermaid, water. Sylvestine sounds like sylph. Pretty sure that's like a fairy. Air. Gnome is like a troll, earth. And Vulcan, volcani, is fire. And each species moves only in the element to which it belongs, and neither of them can go out of its appropriate element." Yeah, Stephen Brooks. Yeah, there used to be people that lived a really dang long time. Hello and welcome. I'm sorry if I didn't notice people. Welcome, Wick News. Welcome to the chat. I hope you're enjoying it. Each species moves only in the element to which it belongs, and neither of them can go out of its appropriate element, which is to them as to air is to us, or water to the fishes. Like fish can't breathe out of water, but we can't breathe in the water. You cannot go in water and breathe. This is what they're talking about. So they also, like, we need to breathe air. They need to stay where they are, because that's where their life essence comes from. And none of them can live in the element belonging to other classes, so they won't be able to survive. To each elemental being, the element in which it lives is transparent, invisible, and respirable as the atmosphere is to us. You can't see air that you're breathing in, right? We don't see it, right? But we are breathing it in. It is there, but even though we cannot see it. Invisible and respirable, like breathable in, as the atmosphere is to us. The reader should be careful not to confuse the nature spirits with the true life waves evolving through, the invisible worlds. While the elementals are composed of only one etheric or atomic essence, the angels, archangels, and other superior transcendental entities have composite organisms consisting of a spiritual nature and a chain of vehicles to express that nature, not unlike those of men, but not including the physical body with its attendant limitations. Transcendental entities have composite organism consisting of a spiritual nature and a chain of vehicles to express that nature. Sounds like UFOs. Doesn't it? Maybe? I don't know. Express that nature, not unlike those of men, but not including the physical body with its attendant limitations. So, sounds like that's why they use spaceships. To the philosophy of nature spirits is generally attributed to an Eastern origin, probably Brahmanic, and Paracelsus secured his knowledge of them from Oriental sages. That's why I was talking about that they knew this in ancient China, ancient India, ancient Egypt. It was all about the spirit realm. From Oriental sages with whom he came in contact during his, and the Middle East too, during his lifetime of philosophical wanderings. The Egyptians and Greeks gleaned their information from the same source. The four main divisions of nature spirits must now be considered separately, according to the teachers of Paraculus and the Abbé de Villers, which such scanty writings of other authors are available. So I just need to go get something else to drink. And then we're going to read the gnomes and the sylphs. I've posted this. If you don't want to listen to me read this whole thing, in my video I post the information always below. In my last video about the spirits, dimensional beings, and elementals, down below, right at the bottom of the description, is the exact part that I'm reading. So if you're not interested in this, I understand. You can go over there and you can read the whole thing for yourself. Bada boom, bada bing, you're all done. And my cat ran away again. I should have brought her inside, but I thought, no, I'll be nice. I'll be nice and leave her outside. Marmin. Oh, there you are. Come here. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Good job, Salem Jenkins. Here we go, baby. Here. Okay, you guys stay inside for now, okay? Stay inside. Marvin came home. She came home when she knew I was going to come get her with the keys. She knows when I grab the keys, that means I'm coming outside. Yeah. I just jingle the keys as I'm walking, and then she comes back in the yard and runs up the wall. They won't fix my fence, so yeah. Anyway, the gnomes. We're now at page 283. The elementals who dwell in the attenuated body of the earth, which is called the terrestrial ether, are grouped together under the general heading of gnomes. So it's almost like as we're humans, but we all don't look alike, there are gnomes, and they probably all have different looks too. I'll show you some of them in Elena's book after I'm done reading this. So, okay. The name is probably derived from the Greek genomus, means an earth dweller, with the New English Dictionary. Just as there are many types of human beings evolving through the objective physical elements of nature, so there are many types, where's my crystal thing, of gnomes. Where's my crystal? I lost it. Oh. I lost it. So there are many types of gnomes evolving through the subjective etheric body of nature. These earth spirits work in an element so close in vibratory rate to the material earth that they have immense power over its rocks and flora, and also over the material elements in the animal and human kingdoms. Some, like the pygmies, work with the stones, gems, and metals and are supposed to be guardians of hidden treasures. Where'd you guys put my crystal? They fucking stole it. I know they took it. Where is it? This is wild. Where is my crystal? Where is it? found it. I found it. I found it. I found it. I found it. It was me. It was me. I found it. It was in the kitchen. I really thought that was what happened. I don't care, though. That was pretty funny because it actually went missing, and I kept thinking, like, they fucking took it. Because they do stuff like that. If you watch this video that I have in my Dimensions and Density playlist, yeah, I left it in the kitchen right next to my teacup. So, if you watch that Density and Dimensions playlist, it's one of the first videos. There's this girl, and she's got a really long blonde braid, okay? Got long braid like me, but she's blonde. And she talks about how there's no privacy in the other realms. And she's talking about the fourth dimension. But this is where these unseen things happen. And she's explaining how you in the physical realm can put your money or your crystals inside of a safe, and you think that no one can get in there. But they have the ability to just reach in and take what's in the safe. Yeah. So, and that's how they can kind of mess with us. That's why, like, there used to be tales, like, if your sock goes missing, that was a fucking gnome or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, from the dryer, or, you know, there's these different little folklore things. That's where that comes from. It's true. Because they can mess with our reality in certain ways like that. Where was I? Oh, wait, we're down here. About the earth. And then about the crystals. Yeah, I couldn't stop thinking someone took it. They're supposed to be guardians of hidden treasures. They live in caves far down in what the Scandinavians call the land of Nibelungen. It's probably just something like Inner Earth. In Wagner's wonderful opera cycle, The Ring of the Nibelungen, Albrecht makes himself king of the pygmies and forces these little creatures to gather for him the treasures concealed beneath the surface of the earth. Aww. Besides the pygmies, that reminds me of that king in Lord of the Rings. The dwarf that had taken all the treasure for himself. Remember, then the dragon comes? Force these little creatures to gather for him the treasures beneath the surface of the earth. Beside the pygmies, there are other gnomes who are called tree and forest spirits. To this group, they're forest spirits. Those were earth. The Silvestries are earth. Oh well. Forest sprites. To this group belong the Silvestries, satyrs, pans, dryads, hamadryads, druidalis, elves, brownies, and little old men of the woods. Like, some of the grays look like cranky old men. They're not always gray. Some of them are like brown, like flesh color. They're different colors. I think that's them. They look like fucking grumpy old men. You look like a grumpy old man from the woods. Paraculus states that the gnomes build houses of substances resembling in their consisting of alabaster, marble, and cement. But the true nature of these materials is unknown, having no counterpart in the physical nature. Marble, cement, alabaster. It makes me think why so many places I've seen, people think it's heaven because it's made out of white stone. But I don't know if it's heaven. Alabaster. Where's that word? But counterpart. Some families of gnomes gather in communities, while others are indigenous to the substances with and in which they work. For example, the hamadryads live and die with the plants or trees of which they are part of. Every shrub or flower is said to have its own nature spirit. Yeah, that's like that show, when a fairy and a demon fall in love, she used to be an orchid. And she grew her consciousness and turned into human form. When she's reincarnated next, she'll be human or an animal or whatever. Yeah, it's pretty cool what she talks about, because her name is Orchid, but she used to be an orchid. Yeah, a flower. Its own nature spirit, which often uses the physical body of the plant as its habitation. Yeah, they'll live inside the flower. That's why you'll see fairies waking up when they're inside the flower. That's the nature spirits of the flower. The ancient philosophers, recognizing the principle of intelligence manifesting itself in every department of nature alike, believed that the quality of natural selection exhibited by creatures not possessing organized mentalities expressed in reality the decisions of the nature spirits themselves. How much longer is this? My throat hurts. Oh. You illuminate the crystals with a flashlight and they reveal silhouettes. Cool. This is quite long. C.M. Gailey, in the classic myths, says it was a pleasing trait in the old paganism that it loved to trace. Wait, what? It was a pleasing trait in the old paganism that it loved to trace in every operation of nature the agency of deity. The imagination of the Greeks propelled the regions of earth and sea with divinities, to whose agency attributed the phenomenon that our philosophy ascribes to the operation of natural law. Natural law reminds me of Mark Passio. Thus, in behalf of the plant it worked with, the elemental accepted and rejected food elements, deposited coloring matter therein, preserved and protected the seed of the plant or flower, and performed many other beneficial offices. Each species, oh my back, each species was served by a different but appropriate type of nature spirit, whose working with poisonous shrubs, for example, were offensive in their appearance. Oh, okay, so if they were poisonous, like a poisonous plant, say they look like poison ivy, they might be kind of scary looking as a being, because they represent what the flower is. If it makes you really sick or toxic, you might look scary as a little creature. Maybe even to scare people away from the danger of the plant itself. Each species was served by a different but appropriate type of nature spirit. Yeah, those working with poisonous shrubs, for example, were offensive in their appearance. It is said the nature spirits of poison hemlock resemble closely to tiny human skeletons, thinly covered with a semi-transparent flesh. Elevar sounds like elf. I was looking. Oh, look. Like a tiny human skeleton. Skinny. Grail. A very thin torso. Their electrical nervous systems. Well, it doesn't actually say that they're see-through. Let's see. There's ones that looks like a fairy with lightning. That's what I saw. There she is. There she is. Right there. That's that. See? That's probably a seed. I think she's a little fairy spirit or something, yeah? See? Huh. That's what it reminded me of. Transparent, they live in and see through the hemlock, and if it be cut down, remain with the broken shoots until both die. But while there is the slightest evidence of life in the shrub, it shows the presence of its elemental guardian. Great trees also have their nature spirits, like the Ents in Lord of the Rings. I'm remembering this. But they are much larger than the elementals of smaller plants. The labors of the pygmies include the cutting of the crystals in the rocks. Oh, it's over there. And the development of veins of ore. When the gnomes are laboring with animals or human beings, their work is confined to the tissues corresponding with their own natures. Hence, they work with the bones, which belong to the mineral kingdom. And the ancients believed that the reconstruction of broken members to be impossible without the cooperation of the elementals. The gnomes are of various sizes, most of them much smaller than human beings, though some of them have the power of changing their stature at will, like shape-shifting. This is the result of the extreme mobility of the element in which they function. Concerning them, Abbé de Villars wrote, "The earth is filled well nigh to its center with gnomes, people of slight stature, who are the guardians of treasures, minerals, and precious stones. They are ingenious friends of man and easy to govern." They're like, I'm thinking of the dwarves in Lord of the Rings. Not all authorities agree concerning the amiable disposition of the gnomes. Many state that they are of a tricky and malicious nature, difficult to manage and treacherous. Writers agree, however, that when their confidence is won, they are faithful and true. The philosophers and initiates of the ancient world were instructed concerning these mysteries, instructed concerning these mysterious little people, and were taught how to communicate with them and gain their cooperation in undertakings of importance. The Magi were always warned, however, never to betray the trust of the elementals, for if they did, the invisible creatures working through the subjective nature of man could cause them endless sorrow and probably their ultimate destruction. So long as the mystic served others, the gnomes would serve him. But if he sought to use their aid selfishly to gain temporal power, they would turn upon him with unrelenting fury. The same was true as if he sought to deceive them. The earth spirits meet at certain times of the year in great conclaves, as Shakespeare suggests in his Midsummer Night's Dream, where the elementals all gather to rejoice in the beauty and harmony of nature and the prospects of an excellent harvest. The gnomes are ruled over by a king, whom they greatly love and revere. His name is Gob. Hence his subjects are often called goblins. Medieval mystics gave a corner of creation, one of the cardinal points, to each of the four kingdoms of nature spirits. And because of their earthly character, the gnomes were assigned to the north, the place reorganized by the ancients as the source of darkness and death. One of the four main divisions of human disposition was also assigned to the gnomes. And because so many of them dwelt in the darkness of caves and the gloom of forests, their temperament was said to be melancholy, gloomy, and despondent. But that is not meant that they themselves are of such disposition, but rather they have special control over elements of similar consistency. The gnomes marry and have families, and female gnomes are called nomides. Some wear clothing woven of the element in which they live, like how you see fairies in like dresses made of grass and flowers and stuff, leaves. In other instances, their garments are part of themselves and grow with them, like the fur of animals. The gnomes are said to have insatiable appetites. Oh, just like, remember how the dwarves in the Hobbit were eating all, what's his name's food in the beginning? Insatiable appetites, and to spend a great part of their time eating. And the hobbits were always eating too, remember that? Well, what about second breakfast? But they can earn their food by diligent and conscientious labor. Most of them are of a miserly temperament, fond of storing things away in secret places. There is abundant evidence that, in fact, that small children often see gnomes, inasmuch as their contact with the material side of nature. Because when they're young, you just come into the world. With their contact with the material side of nature is not yet complete, and they still function more or less consciously in the invisible world. That's why a lot of children probably have invisible friends. According to Paracelsus, man lives in the exterior elements, and the elementals live in the interior elements, macro, micro. The later have dwellings, clothing, manners, and customs, languages, and governments of their own. So if the gnomes deal with bones, and that means that the gnome colonies would be like in your bones. And they could be seen as like a tunnel, and inside, like they live in the bone marrow. I'm not saying there's little gnomes running around inside of you. Of course, this is non-physical, spiritual. Like little tiny, every blood cell is a spirit almost. You see what I'm saying? Maybe just, you don't need to pay attention to me with this. I'm just trying to brainstorm, but oh, right, we were over here. The gnomes marry and have families, insatiable appetites. Nature's not yet complete. They still function more or less consciously in the visible world. According to Paracelsus, whatever that guy's name is, man lives in the exterior elements, and the elementals live in the interior elements. The later have dwellings and clothing, manners and customs, languages and governments of their own. In the same sense as the bees have their queens, and herds of animals have their leaders. Differs somewhat from Greek mystics concerning the environmental limitations, oh my god, my back, imposed of the nature spirits. The Swiss philosopher contributes them to subtle, invisible aethers. According to this hypothesis, they would be visible only at certain times to only those in rapport with their ethereal vibrations. So that's what it means, like when you're matching vibration with certain things. This is probably why maybe people see different ships at different times. This is why they're connecting with different beings, because they're literally how people are saying that they're on the same vibration level, right? The Greeks, on the other hand, apparently believed that many nature spirits had material constitutions capable of functioning in the physical world. Often the recollection of a dream is so vivid that upon awakening, a person actually believes that he had passed through a physical experience. See? This is what people are happening to them when they go through like alien abductions and stuff like that. Listen again. Often, the recollection of a dream is so vivid that upon awakening, a person actually believes that he had passed through a physical experience. The difficulty of accurately judging as to the end of physical sight and the beginning of ethereal vision may account for these differences in opinions. Even this explanation, however, does not satisfactorily account for the satyr, which, according to St. Jerome, was captured alive during the reign of Constantine and exhibited to the people. It was of human form with the horns and feet of a goat, a satyr, like Mr. Tumnus in Narnia. What was I? After its death, it was preserved in salt and taken to the emperor that he might testify to its reality. It is within the bounds of probability that this curiosity was what modern science known as a monstrosity. Monstrosity. Okay, now we're on the undines, but I need to get up for a second. My back and my spine, like maybe the gnomes are kicking my ass right now. I don't know. I'm sorry, you guys. I didn't mean to upset anybody. I seriously did not. I have an illness. I need some water. Here I come. Hello, Calmly. Hello, Shelly. Hello, Shadowfile. Sorry I didn't see you guys come in. Yeah, I know. Second breakfast. That's from Lord of the Rings. In the beginning with the hobbits, and they're first going on their journey. And so they have their first breakfast, and then they have second breakfast, and tea time, and then lunches, and then all these other meals. It's really funny, but that goes to show they're very small in stature. Hobbits are also beings of earth. See, fiction imitates reality. What was that it say? Art reflects life in that way. Whew, I'm warm. Hold on. And so a lot of the times, this is why these authors are writing in this way, just like what Claudio did with his books, is, because I don't think that it may be as easy for some to relay their experiences in a different way like that. I don't know if it was necessarily purposely deceptive, or I don't feel it. That's for sure. I don't feel it was. But anyway, let's continue. Now we're on to the undines, which are mermaids. As the gnomes were limited in their function to the elements of the earth, so the undines, a name given to the family of water elementals, function in the invisible spiritual essence called humid, or liquid ether. In its vibratory rate, this is close to the element water. And so the undines are able to control, to a great degree, the course and function of this fluid in nature. Beauty seems to be a keynote of the water spirits. Oh, thanks, you guys. Wherever we find them pictured in art or sculpture, they are bound in symmetry and grace, controlling their water element, which has always been a feminine symbol. It is natural that the water spirits should most often be symbolized as female. Well, maybe that's what she is. Because that's a girl, but it looks kind of like etheric water, doesn't it? Maybe. There are many groups of undines, water spirits. Some inhabit waterfalls where they can be seen in the spray. Others are indigenous to swiftly moving rivers. And you know what? There's been lots of ghost videos where they think it's a ghost they saw in the water. But maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's one of these water type of spirits. Huh. Of course, many things can be faked, but this has been talked about for years. I saw a thing in the river, and then no one fucking believes them. But it probably was one of these beings. And that's why they just disappear. They probably just go back into where they came from. And just moving rivers, and some inhabit in dripping, oozing ferns or marshes, where other groups dwell in clear mountain lakes. According to the... A fucking mosquito! Where did that come from? Go away. Oh no, now I'm itchy. According to the philosophers of antiquity, there's that word again. Every fountain had its nymph, every ocean wave its oceanate. The water spirits were known under such names as Oreades, Nereides, Limonades, Naiades, water sprites, sea maids, mermaids, and potamaids. Often water nymphs derived their names from streams, lakes, or seas in which they dwelt. In describing them, the ancients agreed on certain salient features in general. Nearly all the undines closely resembled human beings in appearance and size, though the ones inhabiting small streams and fountains were of correspondingly lesser proportions, so they're smaller. It is believed that these water spirits were occasionally capable of assuming the appearance of normal human beings and actually associating with men and women. Like when I just saw Ariel, a Little Mermaid, when she turns into human, she's walking on land. Hey guys, how's it going? There are many legends about these spirits and their adoption by the families of fishermen. But in nearly every case, the undines heard the call of the waters and returned to the realm of Neptune and the king of the sea. Is that what Elena Denon meant when she said she was traveling to Neptune? Probably to the water kingdom we go. Anyway, practically nothing is known concerning the male undines. The water spirits did not establish homes in the same way that gnomes did, but lived... Come on, land. Bloodsucker. The water spirits did not establish homes the same way gnomes did, but lived... My back hurts. I'm sorry. Ugh. Oh. But lived in coral caves, under the ocean, or among the reeds, growing on the banks of rivers or the shores of lakes. Among the Celts, there is a legend to the effect that Ireland was peopled before the coming of its present inhabitants. Wait, the Tuatha De Nan, that's what I'm thinking of, but it doesn't say that in the book. By a strange race of semi-divine creatures, with the coming of the modern Celts, they retired into the marshes and fens, where they remain even to this day. Diminutive undines under lily pads and in little houses of moss sprayed by waterfalls. Oh my god. Go. I can't get back up. Ah. Oh. Oh. My bones hurt. My fucking bones hurt so bad. Okay. Peopled. Right. Diminutive not underwear, but undines, not undies, lived under lily pads and in little houses of moss sprayed by waterfalls. The undines worked with the vital essences and liquids in plants, animals, and human beings. So that was right. The mermaids and the undines are responsible for our blood. And were present in everything containing water, like our blood. When seen, the undines generally resembled the goddesses of Greek statuary. That's why they always say the mermaids are real pretty. They rose from the water, draped in a mist, and could not exist very long apart from it. That's why maybe people only see like mermaids only for a minute. Like, ooh, and then she's gone. There are many families of undines, each with its peculiar limitations. It is impossible to consider them here in detail. Their ruler, Nexa, they love and honor and serve untiringly. Their temperament is said to be vital, as to them has been given. And to them has been given as their vital throne to the western. So the gnomes were of the north, the undines are of the west. Western corner of creation. They are rather emotional beings. Yeah, water beings are emotional. Friendly to human life and fond of serving mankind. They are sometimes pictured riding on dolphins and other great fish, and seem to have a special love of flowers and plants, which they serve almost devotedly and intelligently as the gnomes. Ancient poets have said that the songs of the undines were heard in the west wind, and that their lives were consecrated to the beautifying of the material earth. That's why people say that they sing a lot. No, I don't drink any coffee at all. I don't drink coffee at all. This is tea. This is just English breakfast tea. I don't drink coffee at all. Well, no, I mean, you normally I would never suggest doing what I did. I could have gotten myself real hurt, maybe possibly even extinguished. Um, but like I said, I if you had seen that video, I can't post it though. It's too raw. Someone saw it though, so it's okay. And I know that it'll all make sense one day. But yeah, that wasn't my best bet. But I was very, very, very serious, and it got to that point. So that's why my request was granted. It's not always that happens. It's not like the first time I've gone there, but just everybody ignores me. Like I'm not even there. No one comes to the door, so they just ignore you, which is probably the best bet. You just tire yourself out and leave. But yeah. Oh yeah, no, you know what it is? I hurt my neck. I don't know if you were here in the beginning of the stream, but because of my spirit realm stuff, it moves over into the physical. Okay, I explained this a little bit. That I think that fucking mosquito just bit me. But it crosses over. So sometimes you can get sick in the spirit realm, and it will come over into the physical world. Last night I got blasted right out the castle door, which is something that I wanted, and it was fun at the time. It didn't hurt me in that body, but it hurt me in this body. So which is fine because that's what I wanted. And yeah, but whatever. Now I know. Um, Next, we're actually finished the Undines, and we're moving on to the Salamanders, which are the beings of fire. And speaking of that, I'm gonna go and light a little bit of fire in my jar of the Oracle, and I will be right back. We hear stories like this. We've heard stories like this over history. Like, you'll hear people say, there was a little creature in the kitchen, a tiny little creature. I remember there was a video, and one time I saw there was a baby, and I think it was in South America, because she was speaking, I'm pretty sure it was a Spanish type of language, and there was a baby on the floor, and this small little creature, it's small, almost like a Barbie doll size, runs past him, and even the child looks. I'll show you that. I'll see if I can find it. Hang on. Sorry about that. The air spirits came to attack. I dealt with them, though. It's fine. Where were we? The third group of elementals is the salamanders, or spirits of fire, who live in the attenuated spiritual ether, which is the invisible element of fire, which is the invisible invisible fire element of nature. Without them, material fire cannot exist. A match cannot be struck, nor will flint and steel give off spark. Thank you. I really hope I feel better soon too. It should take a few days, like when you pull a muscle, that this should get better. The hot water, I'm gonna get my what's it called? I have a heating pad. It's just kind of hot right now, so in the invisible fire element of nature. Without them, material fire cannot exist. A match cannot be struck, nor will flint and steel give off the spark without the assistance of the salamander, who immediately appears, so the medieval mystics believe, evoked by friction. Man is unable to communicate successfully with the salamanders, owing to the fiery element in which they dwell. For everything was resolved to ashes that comes into their presence. But by specially prepared compounds of herbs and perfumes, the philosophers of the ancient world manufactured many kinds of incense, like frankincense and myrrh, right? When incense was burned, the vapors which arose were especially suitable as a medium for the expression of these particular elementals, who, by borrowing the ethereal effluvium from the incense smoke, they were able to make their presence felt. Oh, I used to light incense all the time in my practices, but I didn't realize that. And maybe that is what allowed me to communicate with those salamander/lizard type beings, as we know as the reptilians. Is that why? Huh, that's interesting. Oh, I missed it again. How do I keep missing this mosquito? I don't like mosquitoes. It's making me itchy. And it didn't even bite me. I feel like it's in my ear. Fucking thing. I'm all paranoid about it now. I don't like mosquitoes at all. I don't know who does, but evoked by friction. Incense. When incense was burned, medium expression for these elementals, but boring. The salamanders are as varied in their grouping and arrangement as either the undines or gnomes, so they all look different, and which we've seen. There are many families of them, differing in appearance, size, and dignity. So now I will show you some examples of the salamanders in Elena Danan's book. We're going to look at some of the reptilian types, okay? There's one. Reptile, like, see this chest plate thing? Oh, there's like a little tree fairy forest lady. Reptilian. Salamander. Gnomes. Gnome. Salamander. salamander, 2. Salamander in a hood. Red reptilian. Red reptilian. Iguanoids, sauroids. They look more like iguanas. This is Elena Danun's book, Alien Races, but they're not aliens. Are they? What we're reading, right? Don't know. But that's when I hear salamander. That's why there's more of them. Let me see if I can find more. Subterranean Gardens. That's a little gnome. That one, this one. That's a little gnome. This is Elena Danun's book, A Gift from the Stars, Extraterrestrial Contacts, and Guide of Alien Races, but they're not aliens. So it seems to me. I always thought of aliens, so it went from like aliens, extraterrestrials, but that they're people just like us. So your perception of it, I guess, changes. Let's see if I can find some more. Well, as with nature spirits, right? Sorry. These would be like the bug type of elementals. Bugs, like we have in nature. Probably be maybe of earth tree type of beings. Nature spirits in that way. But it says they're not spirits, so I don't know. That's a salamander type. Lizard-like, yeah. Fire. He looks like he'd be a being of fire. Imagine him in Avatar: The Last Airbender. He'd definitely be a firebender. Or in something like the Monkey King. He would probably be fire. And these ones here is something like that tall white. That would probably be a fire one, maybe. Don't know. There's the bird people like Corey Good talked about, avians. Of course, bird nature spirits would be like that too, I suppose. Bird people. But we were just focusing on the salamander type. Well, this is the one I was looking for before. This one looks like some type of see-through nature spirit. Remember with the translucent skin we talked about earlier? Oh, there's a salamander type. Kind of lizard looking. What's he called? The Builders. Al-Gruluk. But you get the point, right? Like, what did it say right there about the reptilians? The Alliance didn't manage to keep up with the production of the weaponized spacecraft, although they had the knowledge of some techniques offered by the reptilians. But you get the point, right? This is what I notice. It says these ones are in the 9th dimensional plane. Oh, that's definitely something that lives underground. A gnome type. But this one here is pretty like maybe a mermaid, or an air spirit like that. Human looking. Like a sylph or an undine or a fairy. Like the fairy girl that I showed you before. Oh, ooh. That's a really good one. Where'd he go? There he is. If that isn't lizard type, you know what I mean? And you see beings like this in the Monkey King with the horns and stuff. So that technically would be probably from the demonic realm. Or the lower realms. So yeah, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about salamanders and the beings of fire. Differing in appearance, size, and dignity. Sometimes the salamanders were visible as small balls of light, red balls of light. You'll see this with UFO encounters, fiery balls of light running across fields. Sometimes the salamanders were visible as small balls of light. Paracelsus says, salamanders have been seen in the shapes of fiery balls or tongues of fire, running over the fields or peering into houses, little red or white orbs. Medieval investigators of the nature spirits were of the opinion that the most common form of salamander was lizard-like in shape, a foot or more in length, and visible as a glowing urodila, twisting and crawling in the midst of the fire. I keep thinking the mosquito's biting me. Another group was described as huge, flaming giants in flowing robes, protected with sheets of fiery armor, like the beings that we saw in the robes, the lizard-like robes. Lizards in the robes, I mean. Certain medieval authorities, among them the Abbé de Villars, held that Zarathustra, Zoroaster, was the son of Vesta, believed to have been the wife of Noah, and the great salamander Oromasis. Hence, from that time onward, undying fires have been maintained upon the Persian altars in honor of Zarathustra's flaming father. Oh, so when you see in Zoroastrianism, they usually have that. Not only does it represent the source, but it is literally the source of the fire, which came from Zoroaster and Zarathustra. Well, their father, and that would be the All-Father in that denomination or religious faith. One most important subdivision of the salamanders was the Acthenisi. These creatures appeared only as indistinct globes, just balls of light. And a lot of people will see these balls of light and see grays looking out of them and whatever. That's what's in there. They're beings of fire traveling in their little fire vehicles. Aww. Whee! They were supposed to float over water at night, occasionally to appear as forks of flame on the masts and riggings of ships. St. Elmo's fire, it says. The salamanders were the strongest and most powerful of the elementals, and had, like when the Fire Nation attacked, at one time, all four kingdoms got along, and then the Fire Nation attacked. The salamanders were the strongest and most powerful of the elementals, and they had their ruler, a magnificent flaming spirit called Jinn. Terrible and awe-inspiring in appearance. That's why they say that Satan, or the adversary, was once a being of lower dimensional nature that rose up to the rank of the higher dimensionals, and he was a jinn. That you can learn about that in Islam. And then he would not obey. He wouldn't bow to humans because he had made his way up all the way from the bottom up and didn't feel like he had to. Terrible and awe-inspiring in appearance, the salamanders were dangerous, and the sages were warned to keep away from them, as the benefits derived from studying them were often not commensurate with the price paid. As the ancients associated heat with the south, this corner of creation, the south, was assigned to the salamanders as their throne, and they exerted special influence over all beings of fire or tempestuous temperament. In both animals and men, the salamanders work through the emotional nature by means of the body heat, the liver, and the bloodstream. Without their assistance, there would be no warmth. Aww. Now we've moved on to the sylphs. Well, the sages said that the fourth class, hopefully this is the last, please God, I'm so tired. Yes, it is. Well, the sages said that the fourth class of elementals, or sylphs, lived in the element of air. They meant by this not the natural atmosphere of the earth, but the invisible, intangible, spiritual medium as ethereal substance similar in composition to our atmosphere, but far more subtle. In the last discourse of Socrates, as prepared by Plato in his Phaedo, I don't know what that word is, Phaedo, the condemned philosopher says, and upon the earth are animals and men, some in a middle region, like Middle Earth, others elemental, dwelling about in the air, as we dwell about in the sea, others in islands which the air flows around, near the continent, and in a word, the air is used by them as the water and the sea are by us for transportation. And the ether is to them what the air is to us. So they breathe it. Moreover, the temperament of their seasons is such, and they have no disease. Paracelsus disputes this, and live much longer than we do. They have long, long lifespans, and have sight and hearing and smell in all other senses in far greater perfection, in the same degree that air is purer than water, or the ether than air. Also, they have temples and sacred places in which the gods really dwell, and they hear their voices and receive their answers, and are conscious of them and hold converse with them, and they see the sun, the moon, and the stars as they really are, and other blessedness of a piece with this. I know that hardly made sense to me. While the sylphs were believed to live among the clouds and in the surrounding air, their true home was on the top of mountains. Maybe this is why the UFOs are always going to the top of mountains and in volcanoes and shit. Going to a volcano would mean you are a fire spirit and you live in the fire. Going on top of the mountain, it's real fucking windy up there, you guys. It's terrifyingly windy. And so this is probably why a lot of UFOs maybe are entering mountains, because they're going home. Where was I? They also have temples and sacred places in which the gods dwell. Right. While sylphs were believed to live among the clouds and in the surrounding air, their true home was upon the tops of mountains. UFOs go to mountains. In his editorial notes to the occult sciences of Salverte, Anthony Todd Thompson says, the fays and fairies are evidently of Scandinavian origin. That's why they're blonde. Although, I think that's what that means, although the name of fairy is supposed to be derived from, or rather, is a modern, is a modification of the Persian Peri, an imaginary benevolent being whose province it was to guard men. Oh my God. From the maledictions of evil spirits. But with more probability, it may be referred to the Gothic fagur, and in terms, elves is from alpha, the general appellation for the whole tribe. ALFA, alpha. The general if this derivation of the name fairy be admitted, we may date the commencement of the popular belief in British fairies to the period of the Danish conquest. They were supposed to be diminutive aerial beings, beautiful, lively, and beneficent in their intercourse with mortals. You mean intercourse like that, or inhabiting a region, maybe just interacting? A region called Fairyland, Alfheimer. What the fuck was that place in Thor? Not Asgard, but isn't there another word? What did I say? Alfheiner. I don't know. Commonly appearing on Earth at intervals. Avalon. Avalon appears and disappears on Earth. The myth of Avalon, the mysterious island, like in King Arthur, it reappears and disappears. Avalon. They were supposed to be diminutive aerial beings, beautiful, lively, and beneficent in their intercourse with mortals, inhabiting a region called Fairyland, like a Surreyville. That's hilarious. Commonly appearing on Earth at intervals when they left traces of their visits in beautiful green rings. Like crop circles? Where the dewy sward had been trodden in their moonlight dances. Or maybe they mean those green fairy rings. To the sylphs, the ancients gave the labor of modeling the snowflakes. And gathering clouds. They're all making little snowflakes up there. That's so cute. And gathering clouds. This latter they accomplished with the cooperation of the Undines, who supplied the moisture, like the rain and stuff. The winds were their particular vehicle, and the ancients referred to them as spirits of the air. They are the highest of all elementals. That's why I think Thorhan is air. Highest of all the elementals, their native element being the highest in vibratory rate. They live hundreds of years, often attaining to 1,000 years, and never seeming to grow old. That's why they always look young and handsome like that. The leader of the sylphs is called Paralda, who is said to dwell at the highest mountain of the earth. The female sylphs were called Sylphids, the highest mountain of the earth. Which is that? Fairies could possibly make the crop circles. That's kind of what came. I'm only spurting out what comes to mind. I'm not saying that anything is for sure. Like when I see, say, a salamander look lizard type, we looked at the lizards, this and that. That's all I'm doing. I am a baby at this. I can't prove anything, but it's quite possible that fairies and different types of beings may leave their presence in crop circle like. That's all I meant. It's possible. I don't know for sure. We're only going with what pops into my head as I'm reading. That's it. That's what I want to say about it, because I don't want to give anybody that idea and then they're running off and saying, well, the fairies made the crop circles, because that may not be necessarily true. But with green rings and stuff like that, this is what came to my head. That's it. It is believed that sylph salamanders and nymphs had much to do with the oracles of the ancients. that in fact they were the ones who spoke from the depths of the earth and from above the air. The sylphs sometimes assume human form, but apparently for only short periods of time. Their size varies, but in the majority of cases, they are no larger than human beings and often considerably smaller. It is said that the sylphs have accepted human beings into their communities and have permitted them to live there for a considerable period. In fact, Paracelsus wrote of an incident, but of course it could not have occurred while the human stranger was in the physical body. But some of the muses, it would be your spirit that went, not your physical body, but your spirit. Like spirit body travel. It could not have occurred while the human stranger, which is your soul, was in the physical body. By some, the muses of the Greeks are believed to have been sylphs, for these spirits are said to gather around the mind of a dreamer, the poet and the artist, and inspire him with their intimate knowledge of the beauties and workings of nature. To the sylphs were given the eastern corner of creation. Their temperament is mirthful, changeable, and eccentric. The particular qualities common to men of genius are supposedly the result of the cooperation of sylphs. Oh, is that so, Claudio? Whose aid also brings with the sylphic inconsistency. The sylphs labor with the gases of the human body. And indirectly with the nervous system, they're responsible for farts. The sylphs labor with the gases of the human body and indirectly with the nervous system, where their inconsistency is again apparent. They have no fixed domicile, but wander about from place to place, elemental nomads, invisible like the wind, it's always ever moving. Elemental nomads, invisible but ever-present powers in the intelligent activity of the universe. And that's it. Well, there is some general observations that I will get to, but this book's getting heavy, so I just need to put it down for a minute. My wrist hurts, this one, and these fingers. Oh, thanks, Dommy. I really appreciate it. I hope that it helps. I hope that it helps in some way, because, that's really what I've been trying to do. I still feel like this mosquito is trying to bite me somewhere, but yeah. So if you missed it, I had a very humbling experience last night, and I understand quite a bit more. Oh, it's 4:44 p.m. Thank you, higher dimensionals and angels. That's very nice. And if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 equals 2, 3. 1 plus 2 is 3, which connects you with your creator, if you don't know to do that. So anyway, I just saw 444. What else did we see? 222? Yeah, we saw 222 as well. So that is a very good sign. The one thing that I'll read to you, which is very helpful, because I still don't understand all of it right now. Okay. There are exploring the invisible right here. There are many planes and subplanes. So it says the outline of planes and subplanes. I'm going to try to explain it the best that I can. This goes with all the knowledge that I have, and if I don't have it, then I don't have it. So the earth plane is the astral parallel of the earth plane, where nature, spirits, and elementals reside. Now, in a lot of the the Chinese movies that I've been posting about, there's a movie called Green Snake, and that's where they're in a parallel of the earth, but it's like the doppelganger world, where everything's destroyed and there's always war. Within these different factions, they're always fighting, almost like gangs. And it's literally called a Suraville. I almost fell over. I randomly chose a movie for dinner, and it was an animated film. And I thought it looked good because it had like a main female character or whatever. So I just clicked it. It was called Green Snake. And holy crap, did I fall into, what is it? Asuraville. I almost choked. You know what I mean? Yeah. So then there's the astral parallel of the universe where planetary rulers and lower extraterrestrials reside. So the lower extraterrestrials, like of the lower realms, I guess. The realm of cause and effect where all karmic debts are housed. The lower astral, realms of thought forms where all negative emotions are collected, perceived as hell. Yeah, these sometimes they're like tunnels and you can't get out. They're these never-ending tunnels. I've seen that part. I've been to certain places of the lower realms with the Asura or as the Asura, and I didn't realize it. And so there are certain places, like I remember a bioluminescent place where everything glowed, almost like Avatar. And I've heard that repeated. I heard that first from Robert Zephyr, and that's what really got me into him. If I hadn't clicked on that, and that was on Atlantean Gardens, and he does a bioluminescent underworld or something like that. But that's why I got into Robert Zephyr, because I'm like, holy shit, he knows about the place, that the glowy place too. Even though I thought that it might be a physical place underground, which it can be, because there are certain planktons and algae that can perform bioluminescence in certain bodies of water, and that's what I was seeing. It was in water. It was on the walls too, and some of the plant life. I drew it, but we're busy right now. The lower astral, okay, the realms perceived as hell, which would be the lower dimensions. There's the transition plane, the reunion realm, where souls fresh from the death experience reside temporarily, a meeting place where soul guides and loved ones are reunited. The vibrational healing realm, where chakra temples are located. Realm of spirit physicians, like I was talking about the spirit hospital, that's where that is. That's the vibrational healing realm. That's the spirit hospital. I've been there many times. They probably won't accept me this time because I have to deal with the injury that I have as part of my karma. Realms of healing and rest for those who experience traumatic deaths, but also traumatic lives, okay? That's a lot of the reason why I was there when I was a little kid, because I was getting hurt a lot. And then there's the disincarnate realm, where souls waiting to incarnate and reincarnate receive instruction before physical birth. So, in this area, I want to remind you of the movie Defending Your Life from 1991 with Meryl Streep, where it kind of gives you the idea of the life review and the whole judgment process where they go over everybody's life. You've got two lawyers and stuff like that. That's one of the best movies you can ever watch about the spirit realm, honest to God. And in the trailer, it says, Hollywood has been trying to tell you the truth about the afterlife for a very long time. If there's one movie you see before you die, let it be this. And I seriously mean that. Yeah. It's called Defending Your Life. It's from 1991. It's actually quite comical. There's some funny parts. There's emotional parts. There's romance. There's thrilling parts. You know what I mean? And it gives you a great example about the spirit realm. The waiter tries to give Buddy 12 pies. He's like, it's totally fine. You don't need to be embarrassed. You could literally take these 12 pies and eat them. Nobody gives a shit. And he gave him the 12 pies, but he ends up getting embarrassed, but it's fine. You could have ate the whole 12 pies and not gotten fat at all. You wouldn't have gotten sick. You can eat whatever you want. And it's pleasureful, right? It's same as fulfilling, but you're not actually eating it. You know, it's like spirit food. It would be almost like how it reflects in Star Trek. You go up to the machine, you're like, yeah, I'd like a steak dinner with a baked potato, some sour cream and chives, and I don't know, green beans on the side. Onto the Star Trek fucking thing. That's the same thing. It's almost like an instant manifestation. So you can just think of what you want to eat, and then it will be there. And it'll taste just like real food. The plane of creativity is next, where the sound realms are, where healing with vibrational and spiritual properties of sound and music is practiced. Creative realms, the Dionysian ray, the birthing place of all artistic work, that is of pure emotional nature, realms of intense color, beauty, feeling, and inspiration. Realms of gods, goddesses, and semi-divine beings are in the creative realms. The plane of pure thought, is number 4, is a plane of pure thought. So higher creativity realm, source of all finite and infinite knowledge, birthing place of all elevated arts and scientists of intellectual or spiritual nature. Realm of knowledge, location of the Akashic records, that's where that comes from. It's like a giant library. Oh, and other spiritual libraries, universities, etc. You'll also see it as like a huge fucking library. You'll see this represented in TV and movies too. I think even in Star Wars they have that giant ass library. Sorry, it's that mosquito. I'm getting itchy. And then the plane of being, realms of advanced teachers and souls, realms of light energy and light beings. Plane of energy, the avatar ray, are the angelic kingdoms, realm of the celestial hierarchy and light gods. So the plane of energy in the angelic kingdoms, if you watch The Monkey King, Havoc in Heaven's Palace, when you see the dragon emperor in that part, this is the angelic kingdoms, realm of the celestial hierarchy and light gods. That's who you're dealing with. There, from The Monkey King, I gave you a visual example. So the realms of the masters, like when everyone's talking about the masters have spoken and stuff like this, that's the realm of the masters, where spiritual masters and true saints dwell. Then there is the realm of divinity, where the ultimate god, goddess energy dwells. And then there is the plane of the unknown, which would be like the celestial lands, I believe, in Claudio Nocelli's book, because it is the source of all. See? And that's why he says no one knows what's in there. In the celestial lands. Plane of the unknown, source of all. Yeah. So then it just goes on about the earth plane and these different realms. And we talked about that before a little bit. But I'm very tired now, and I've been going for almost 3 hours. So I think it's almost time to wrap it up. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. Fairies could be UFOs. Well, I mean, it's possible for shape-shifting, but I don't think so. I think that it would save them energy. But if you can think of it in that kind of terms, that, you know, I don't know if it helps or not, but I hope so. I hope it helps. And like what I was saying, so in the video that I made about we oppose deception, there is good out there, believe. What is that called again? Oh, beware the bringers, or whatever it was, of false gifts and broken promises. That crop circle picture. At the end of it, it says conduit closing. A machine wouldn't need to write conduit closing. Computer programs don't go, I'm opening your file now, when you click it and tell it to open a file. So why would it say conduit closing? The only reason, and a conduit is something of an in-between, so the only reason why it would have written conduit closing is because the telepathic message that was being conveyed told it to do so. You had to close the conduit manually, but also it physically has to close to turn it off, like, because you're doing it with the power of your mind. This is why a lot of these crafts are said to have no controls, because you're doing it telepathically with your mental energy. It's almost like a Wi-Fi. And this craft picks it up, I suppose. So I've heard that everyone has their own individual craft. Wait for mine to come back and pick me up, to be honest. But, like I said, I saw, it's not, I knew that it couldn't be, but it's just, seemed so far away from me. My hair's wet. That's why it's so friggin' curly like that. See how curly it is? It's messy though, but it gets right. I wish it stayed that way, but it's so long. Like right there, you can see. It's so long that it kind of just, I just thought of Monty Python, the castle. Ah! You mean like, what's your favorite color? Green, blue. Ah! That? The guy at the end? That was so funny. Yeah. Off the bridge. Is that the castle you mean? The castle. Ah! I think that might have maybe. Or was that the one with all the ladies on the inside? Oh, that wasn't me. That was my sister, Newt. Naughty, naughty Newt. He must have died while carving it. Oh! On the wall! Before the monster gets them. What the fuck is and then they turn around, they're like, yeah, I remember. He must have died while writing it, sir. Sire. Oh my god, that was funny. What are you doing? They're banging the coconuts together. Dun, 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 dun. How did a coconut get in England? You've never seen that movie? You've got to watch Monty Python. It's one of the funniest fucking movies I've ever seen in my life. It really is. It's a particularly good kind of comedy. It's so funny. She turned me into a newt. And everyone's looking around. Well, I got better. It's so good. It's really good. There's some really ridiculous stuff in there, but that's what he's talking about. So they're all in this cave and they're reading a secret message. And it's like, well, what the fuck is, And then he's like, oh, sorry, he must have died while writing it. Well, who dies and writes, It's so fucking funny. You just have to see it. That's what he's talking about. Like with the conduit closing. That's right. Who the fuck writes, as they're dying? That's exactly right. Good for you. Yes, just write that, but like that. But so you wouldn't necessarily need to write that, but because of the mental projection that it's taking to maybe put this message on the ground, because machines don't fucking do that. It just doesn't make any sense, But yes, thank you. Like, you got to watch that movie if you haven't. Shadow Files, you should. It is so funny. They don't have horses. So they're making horse noises with coconuts. They got their servants, and they're pretending to ride horses through the damn field. It's so funny. It really is. It's King Arthur and his kniggets. That's what the French guy calls him. King Arthur, king, and you and your kniggets. That's what he calls them. Like knights, but kniggets. It's so funny. Yeah. What's that then? 'Tis a flesh wound. Your arm's off. No, it's not. You've got to go watch it. Just go watch it. Yeah, it's really funny. Yeah. Your arm's off. And there's blood squirting out. Okay. There's blood squirting out. And he's like, that's not mine. Have at you. It's the Black Knight part. It's so funny. But anyway. Oh, yeah. I've seen it so many times. I started watching that when I was like 17, I think. I was 16 or 17 years old when I saw that. And I saw it at like an art showing at like a museum. And me and my friend Caroline were laughing so damn hard, but everybody else was laughing too. But it wasn't even at a movie theater. It was like at like a friggin' art exhibit thing. It was like this fancy place that my friend Caroline brought me to. Oh, well, you know what? First Contact, I could try to do that someday. First Contact says, Lacey, you should do a CE5. We shouldn't really call it that because it connects with Stephen Greer. And honestly, I didn't have to do any fucking protocols. I just prayed. I saw something awful. Delete. But I could try to do something like that. 'Tis but a flesh wound. Yes. Yeah. Your arm's off. No, it's not. What's that then? That isn't mine, he says. He's fucking bleeding. Yeah, it's really, really funny. Oh, Enchanter Tim. They call me Tim? Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies. Enchanter Tim. But yeah, we could try it someday. I just have to get a different setup. Like maybe I could have at least maybe by that time somebody with me, you know. I have to figure out different things or like how to figure out how I can go live on my cell phone. I've never done that before and I don't know like I mean I have data and stuff, but I've never actually done it before. What do you just go aside and it'll cost me money and then use my data down? I guess that's what will happen. I don't know. But yeah, I could try something like that one day, but I have to get myself healthy first, like really healthy and in a good place again. Like I just ate a big meal, so that's really good because my appetite came back. I actually was really hungry. So, and then I could try doing something like that in the future and see if I could get something to show up again. Like I did that with that video when I prayed. I mean, but I said like it gave me that because I needed it, not because I wanted it. So we'll have to see if something like that can be possible. Because you got to remember, like these people have stuff to do as well. So I don't know, but we could attempt it. I'm not saying no just because I think it won't work. I'm saying no because, you know, not necessarily no, but I'm just a little bit apprehensive thinking like, well, a lot of people have tried, but we could try. We could try. It's not a big deal. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? People have things to do and stuff to do. We can use the holy hand grenade. Do we throw on 3 or 1, 3, 5? No, 3, sir. 3. Yeah. Yeah, the holy hand grenade. I do. I remember that movie quite a bit. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we could do something like that one day. I would like a different setup. I know I didn't even 1, 2, 5, 3. Yeah. Yeah, it's a really, really good movie. Especially if you need a laugh, because it's really, really good. It'll make you laugh. Okay. Well, I might have to, not today though, because I already feel like I want to go and take a little nap. Just a little nap. So, did I do it? Yeah, I did. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know when I'll be back, but I'll try to come back as soon as I can, and then I might have to record what I kind of sort of talk about in the beginning. Because I said I have to do damage control and some adjustments now from the oopsies that I made. I said I would apologize and all of that. But we will figure that out. Maybe it won't be so much longer. I don't know. And then, you know, maybe I'll be able to see that craft again or shake hands with one of these people and be like, whoa, can you please tell me why you did that? Like why you came here and left me like this for so long, like just so that I know for sure. You know, I probably had to be ready for it anyway. But yeah. So I don't know. It's going to take me some time though, because for people that don't have any experience with this or even think that they don't, I think that was my biggest problem for the longest time, is that I was so sad, not jealous, but sad. Like, why would they choose Corey Good over me? What did I do wrong? Just as an example, you know what I mean? Or like Elena, for example, like what did I do wrong? Why can't I be in the secret space program type of thing? And I guess I just didn't realize exactly what it was, and it's kind of vague, but it may be just like that Tony Rodriguez guy. Like, I don't think he knows. I'm not sure. I might have to listen to the whole thing. This is the first time I've ever seen him, but I don't think he knows he's in the spirit body, and he might think, like, I'm thinking that's for sure the reason why Area 51 is called Dreamland. Yeah, Whitley Strieber uses Dreamland too. Why do you think that is? Because it has to do with when you go to sleep. Like how we have our waking life in our physical body, and then we have our sleeping life in our spiritual body. And our spirit leaves at nighttime and goes to travel. That's why you got a cord attached to you. You always come back, though. This is spirit traveling. It's natural. We do it. We go to different places. We'll go see our ancestors in the spirit realm. You can visit your loved ones. A lot of people in their dreams, their loved ones who have passed on, will come and see you there, because it's like a in-between place. That I've always called it the sleep realm. Sure. Sleep realm, spirit realm, because we're awake and our spirit is here. But then when we go to sleep, it's able to go free. It's two different states. Like, that's why I think a lot of people kind of dismiss sleep and dreams. They don't understand that that's half of our life. Like, we're up with the sun and we sleep with the moon, right? So it is another form of existing. Like, we have the physical fire, and then with the spiritual fire of the movie The Fifth Element. Corbin, I ain't got no matches. Anybody got any matches? Remember that guy? Chris Tucker plays that fella in The Fifth Element. And then the guy takes his cloth for water from sweat and drops a drop of sweat on the one stone. There, that's the spiritual essence of water. You see the droplet, but then the light comes up, the blue color. That's the spiritual essence of the element. Hence the fifth element. And when all four are lit and combined, why is my pinky moving? There. All four are lit and combined, then you have the fifth element. So there. Ow. We'll wrap it up. Okay? So, a lot of stuff you can find in the last video. I posted about the spirit realms, the elemental kingdoms, and dimensional beings, aliens, like, okay? With the Monkey King. Underneath there's lots of shows and movies. There's also the exact part from the Secret Teachings of the Ages. You don't have to look through the whole thing. It's just the part about the elements and their inhabitants, as we just read out of the book The Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manly P. Hall. I used examples of the elemental beings from Elena Danan's book A Gift from the Stars, Extraterrestrial Contacts, and Guide of Alien Races. But I don't know. Kind of questioning, maybe they're not all aliens. I don't know. So, yeah. Thank you for being here. Oh, the last book was Naked Soul, Astral Travel, and Cosmic Relationships by Marlene Marie Druhan. Druhan. So those were the 3 books that we went over. I thank you very much for being here with me today. If, I guess I can come back in a little bit when I'm feeling up to it. But I will try to come and see you again. And I wish you all the best. I hope you enjoyed today's live stream and this reading. And I will talk to you soon. Okay? Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here with me. I really appreciate it. Take care. Oh, I forgot to say goodbye in the chat. I almost did it again. I almost do that every single time. We'll say take care. And we'll give everyone a heart. And then we'll say bye. See you later. See you next time. Bye.